sir, man. It's the Free Breakfast Podcast, food for thought, and your most important meal of the day. I go by the name of DJ Paulie Guap.
And I'm Hefe Lockhart, man, here on the check-in, man. And today, we here live in the city, man, here at Good Times
Charlotte, man.
A few made
on the
men
east
from
side.
the Boogie Down Bronx.
Boogie Down, okay.
We got J Tips here with us, and we got our good man Noel Bronson here with us, man.
Yeah.
How y'all doing today?
You good, man. Thank you for having us. Thank
For
you
sure. Welcome to the city, man.
Welcome to Charlotte, man.
Thank you. Thank you for welcoming us.
No problem.
Fact.
How y'all like it so far? Since y'all been here, y'all been here a couple days?
Yeah, we've been here a few days. We,
Okay.
You know, it's cool. You
Okay.
know, I think just the more and more you travel, you know, you want to kind of see what the city's about. So, you know, we get in, we try to hit some food spots. We do a little shopping just to kind of fill it out, see what people talking about and stuff. So, Charlotte, I mess with Charlotte. Charlotte's cool.
Anything in specific that caught y'all out here? It don't got to be like fashion related or anything.
To me, it was what caught my eye was before we got here, just to see how progressive it seemed like Charlotte was with just the hat world. Like, you know, I've been dibbling dabbling with fitteds for a little while, but just to see how much people from Charlotte would reach out, or I would see new followers, and it was always Charlotte in their bio. So it was just to kind of just really just see how much the city knew about what was going on. That caught my eye.
I was talking to you and Noel prior to the episode, and y'all were telling me, like, this is one of the top cities as far as, like, the pop-up y'all have done, you know what I'm saying? Can you explain why this may have been a top city, or how did this differ from another city?
You want to mention it?
No, the level was just kind of crazy. You know, the line, the constant people. Yeah, I think that. Just, I don't even know, bro. I'm a little tired.
Well, you know, when it comes to just, I guess, just like how the story gets told, you know, I feel like, you know, it's New York, LA when it comes to just like people who are just constant, like where fashion trends and things come from. So I kind of anticipated that, just like we've seen that New York, of course, hometown, us being able to do a pop-up on the block I grew up on, I used to hang out on, roll dice on. Like, for us to do a pop-up on that block, we anticipated for it to all connect and to be pretty crazy. And in L.A., you know, L.A. was the first pop-up. Like, everything I was doing on the internet, fresh off of, like, the Hat Club collaboration and a lot of the stuff that I was doing a little bit with Nike and stuff, I knew that it would be people trying to touch me just based off of just what they seen. So when it came to just the other place we hit, like Atlanta and Miami, which was very, like, opposite of both stops. Like, it was Atlanta just wasn't familiar with what was going on with hats. Like, I could remember people's faces from just looking at the pink bottoms, like they never even seen that before. And Miami, just like, you know, maybe just location, maybe time of the year, maybe just time of the week. A few factors when it came to the pop-up. But for Charlotte to be people willing, people ready, people outside, people tweeting about it, talking about it, trying to find out where I was, stores beefing over it. Like, it was just so much that went into, like, just the finished product of it, that it was just like, you know, I didn't expect it to be just this much love. Yeah.
That's refreshing to hear. You know what I mean? Because, like, coming up, a lot of times we've been the underdog until recently, for real. Right. Like, so, like, it's always been that energy. You know what I mean? We want everybody outside of here to come here and really see, like, yo, it's really something here in the soil. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a different energy. So it's refreshing to hear that, bro.
Nah, no problem, man. Y'all got LaMelo, so I'm rocking.
At what point did you know it was time? I see y'all have been doing the tour. At what point did you know it was time to take the show on the road?
You know, just, you know, me coming from the independent music circuit. Like, sometimes you understand, like, when you dropping music, when you putting out videos, when you doing certain things, you know, when you're on the top, it only goes down from there. You know what I'm saying? So you know, I kind of just understood that no matter how much attention I was getting on IG, I needed to expand, and I needed to expand fast, and I needed to do it the right way. So when it came to just when the world started opening up a little bit, the first thing I wanted to do was I wanted to in some way give people experience that just dropping a link in the bio, just telling people swipe up on your story wouldn't, you know, it would last a little longer in their minds and their hearts. And so it was just like, that's just what it felt like. Me and Noel were going back and forth to LA to just visit factories and stuff like that. And just being in like LA, being in Chicago, and everybody saying like, "Do you have hats with you? Do you have hats with you?" That really sparked it. It was like, you know what? Maybe let me see if these peer spaces are renting. You know, because all the COVID stuff was like, I wonder if you can even have an event. So it's like we explored those options, and we shot our shot. We was all going out there. We was gonna just chill, and I was like, you know what? Why not? I'll bring a couple hundred hats. I'll see if it could work, and it did.
That's hard. So like when you speak of music, let's kind of go back to like the conversation of y'all being from the Bronx and music being your first love before hats and fashion. Like, kind of talk about that and how that came about. How long when did you start rapping actually?
Well, I've been rapping since high school. I would say like 9th grade. You know, just peer pressure, doing what your friends do.
Right. Okay.
You know, if you gonna be sitting in the studio for hours on end, you might as well write a verse. So it was just more like that. It was me just hanging around with my friends and, you know, ciphers in the park and all this different type of stuff, early MySpace, early YouTube, like all that stuff, like still LimeWire in it, like just learning how to just get beats off that piff. Like I came from just that era of still figuring it out, trying to really like fall in love with the business of music and still creating music and all that stuff. But how it all tied into it was I always rapped about shoes. I always rapped about fashion. I always rapped about BBC and Kid Robot and stuff like that. So that was always what people kind of gravitated to in my music. So when it came time to kind of like try to make some merch, try to do that, I retained a good amount of information because I've seen a lot. I've been through a lot. So when it started to resonate with people, I wasn't so surprised because it was almost like I already had that information. I just wasn't maybe applying it.
I seen that recently you guys got a facility.
Yeah.
How does that affect the work? Like, what's the difference between, you know, going from not having a facility or having a smaller facility? Now you have a facility that, you know what I'm saying, you and your homies can come to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all can congregate every day and get stuff done. Talk a bit about that.
Well, you know, business, I think anybody that runs like online business, you can't really predict what's going to happen. Like you don't put something out, you want to make a few dollars, but I don't think people realize maybe the thin line between, you know, I done sold 5 shirts, so I done sold 5,000 shirts. And it's like then, you know, that turns into new problems where you got to manufacture it, you got to house it, you got to bring it in, you got to, it's a lot of stuff. And, you know, I was working out of my living room and it just started to feel like the walls was caving in. Like you doing 1,000 orders a month or something and you still got to like put the tape, you know, somewhere and the box is missing, hat's missing, my kids kicking stuff, like my kids walking around with the hat on and I got to ship to somebody. So it just kind of came to a point where it was just like I felt trapped. So it was like I started looking for just an office, and the office kind of just, it helped with the creativity again. And then it also gave us unintentionally a place to like call home when it came to just like a good environment, because it's different for you to come to the crib, but when you come to the office, it's just like you get a little bit more things done. Laptop's always out. You know, it just felt like that. It kind of came together like just because the business just kept going, and it's either we gonna embrace that we expanding or we just gonna like lose it, and then somebody else gonna take it from us.
So like tapping back in on just growing up in the Bronx and like hip hop and where that came from for both of y'all. What was that growing up like, seeing hip hop in front of you every day and seeing the evolution? Cause how old are y'all, gentlemen?
I'm 30.
You 30? How old are you, Noah?
32.
Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, y'all premium age of literally seeing the transition. Like, kind of talk about that, how y'all experienced that growing up, and how that funneled into career now.
I mean, honestly, I came from like the mixtape era, like going to the fucking clothing store to sell white tees and having new DJ Clue, UK Slate, and then finding out that shit was like not even legal or real.
Right.
So someone putting it together, and I think that's like a very streetwear mindset. You know, like someone found this music on the internet, put it together, and sold it to me for $5.
Facts.
You know,
whether it's the barbershop, out the trunk, on the train.
it's a fact. And then even transition from that to like Smack DVDs.
Right.
I was actually coming down here a lot as a kid. So like I had like the Trap or Die DVD.
Yep.
Like before, like my friends back in New York knew what Jeezy was. I had like Gucci ones. It was another one like from Atlanta, some shit with BMF one on it.
Yeah.
Like, so all that was like kind of like before I was really fucking fashion. Was like all about that, like what
Right.
they were wearing, what they were doing.
Right. Right.
So you got
We live
That's
somewhere around
hard.
here. Like I used to go to Eastland Mall, get Jordans, all that shit.
That's hard.
Okay.
So where's your family? I noticed an accent. Like, where's your family from?
My friend from Jamaica.
Okay. Yeah, I figured it was an island somewhere,
Yeah.
for sure. For sure. So tapping in to like back to that creation, kind of doing the work. I noticed, especially on the Air Tips project, it was very hands on, very on the ground. I'm a hands on the ground type of guy, so I always like to champion and appreciate that. Kind of talk about the process all the way from 21 Mercer to campus to just taking the steps, not skipping anything. Really doing the due process.
So when it came to that, it was just a matter of time where I started to see I came up in the skipping school to go to Soho, go to BBC, go to Bape, buying BBC shirts on my break at lunch when I worked at a job and stuff like that. So it was like I just kind of always I was always on the ground. So I always had a lot of ties in stores and stuff, and just being a sneaker collector, and I've been in Nice Kick. I've Nice Kick write-ups, and people come to my house, take pictures of my collection and stuff like that. So it was like when it came to me wanting to kind of further what I was doing, I started seeing a lot of creatives get shoes with, whether it was A$AP Bari, whether it was Rox Brown or Queen Leo, who won the Amex Day after Sean Witherspoon. And then Sean Witherspoon, it was just so many different people that I identified with that I was just like, I want to do something like that. So, it's, ain't nobody gonna, I learned coming in from the Bronx, ain't nobody gonna give nothing to you. I'm not gonna be probably a viral sensation off of just being creative, so I had to go get it. So what I did was I went to Nike Bespoke, which is like a luxury Nike ID for anybody that doesn't really understand, and it's $1,000 flat rate for you to be able to play with more materials, more parts of the shoe with luxury materials and stuff. So what I just basically did is I wanted to have that, like Tiana Taylor, Sweet 16, when they opened the box, and it was just like, whoa, what is this moment?
That's a moment.
Yeah, so I wanted to.
That's a moment.
I wanted to relive that in a way where it was like, what's things that shock people? What's in me and Noel doing a little bit of focus groups and consulting and stuff. We seen that these big brands have budgets, so I wanted to also play off of that. I wanted to play in if I do a bunch of stuff in one shoe that maybe looks like a few shoes, then it's also going to play on the consumer's mind, because they used to seeing you have one shoe that has zebra print, another shoe that has floral, another shoe that has denim. They never really see it come together. So it's going to play off their mind. It's going to play off their, even if they don't know they like it at first, it's going to do something that's going to shock the way they think. So just that was just the creation part. And when it came to just the branding, just the marketing is just what do I see? How do I be what I see? And just if I see the way Kith shoots product, if I see the way Good Time shoot product, or I see the way anybody that's reputable who has product shoots it, why not I shoot it the same way, market it the same way? And that's just, it kind of just sparked a lot of stuff, because people started to maybe not recognize me for artists or recognize me for a lot of things, but they recognize me as somebody that was a creative person with the way he marketed things.
That's important, that you don't get hung up on the fact of I gotta be a rapper. That's the only thing I can do. If my rapping's not working out, all my life's over. It's so important to know how to hustle. To know how to innovate and bring that extra thing to the table. You know what I mean? So I champion that. The fact that you got more than one lanes, that's super important.
Thank you.
Especially for the creative journey. People tie out, you get frustrated with certain things, and then you how can I get past this? But having that extra outlet of creativity is important.
Thank you, man.
For sure.
Appreciate that.
I want to get a bit into those first trips to Portland. I know you guys have worked with Nike a good bit. But what advice would you have for, let's say some kid out here that's watching this podcast right now, and he wants to know, how can I go give my input to Nike? Or, you know what I'm saying? How can I go to Portland and really figure it out? What would you tell them?
Leave that.
There's a few cheat codes. The first cheat code is that everyone at Nike emails their first last name at Nike.com. So if you go on LinkedIn and you try, let's say you want to find someone in running, you type that shit into LinkedIn, brand manager running, you see what their first last name is, then you just email them, see if they answer. As far as getting there, I mean, it's just pretty easy. You could buy a ticket and get there and be on campus. The only issue is once you on the campus is open public in a way, right? It's like a big college campus. The buildings are closed, so you can't get past inside the building without someone knowing somebody. But there's a lot of ways. Like, if you really, really hustle, I mean, if you're hungry, go out there, sit in the cafeteria, which open everybody, and fucking talk to people. You know, it ain't no real way to get in there, honestly.
Did you just go out there on some, like...
Nah, fucking, actually, Tips, he had invited me to a focus group, like 3 years ago. It's the first time I met, like, any Nike Corp people. And I had met a dude, actually, from Atlanta named Chaos, and he kind of took me under the wing, and he was the first one to bring me out there. And the first trip, I went alone. That shit was, like, fucking boring and sad. Like, it was just raining out there by myself. I was lonely. And came back from that trip, told my friends. My friends came back. We just kept going back and getting bigger, having fun, running around the city, having meetings, you know.
How important is it to get that Bronx kid aspect when you talking about things like Air Force Ones, and, you know, things that y'all really solidified in y'all area, you know what I'm saying? Like, how are they accepting y'all input? You know what I'm saying? Is it, are they taking it, or...
Sometimes they take, sometimes it's a pushback. You know, it could be, I don't want to be put race on some older white dude that's probably been in the company for 30 years. He think he know how footwear is ran. He built a couple businesses, and he might be like, well, that's wrong. And he can be right for whatever reason, but I could also be right because I know about shit on the ground. You know, he's not where I'm at.
Right.
And in some respect, I'm also not where he is.
Right.
So it's about coming together to make it better.
Do you feel like your love for the Air Force One, as a silhouette, as a sneaker, as a motivational tool, as a kid, how do you feel that impacted your path or your journey in footwear and fashion?
I mean, that shit could have honestly, in some ways, like saved my life. You know, like if I wasn't the footwear and clothing shit, I could have easily probably been out selling drugs or do shit I shouldn't have been doing. Right. So honestly, that should have saved me, and I think moving forward also could save more people. You know, like black kids in hoods don't got much to do. If you on fucking out Instagram looking at shoes all day, you're not outside in the corner.
I always say that. Like back when I used to work at Social Status Greensboro when I was in college, I used to be like, man, I bet most of these kids in line don't know that it's somebody that designs this shoe, markets this shoe. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. I feel like us as black kids, we're not really exposed to that side of the game.
Yeah. Right.
And, you know what I mean?
And that's been some of my biggest talking points in some of these meetings, like behind closed doors, is that we're only conditioned to be a consumer.
Right.
And that's just basically what all we know. So it's like when you get in these rooms and, you know, they kind of frown upon you like you just a reseller or you just this. And it's like, what does a kid that loves shoes, that wants to live a life in shoes, know beyond that?
Yeah.
Like we know to stack the shoes to the ceiling and we know to flip them. We don't know to be a colorist. We don't know to explore materials, because even if we did, what would we do with them?
Yeah.
You know, so it's one of those things where it is a gatekeeper kind of situation where it's like they're not teaching us in the school, and you have to really, really be versed at it where you even have the understanding to know what you need to go for. Because, you know, I'm 30 years old. I grew up in a time where my mom, it's not that maybe she didn't want to explore what I wanted to do creatively. She just wanted me to be safe. So it was like it wasn't on her to put me in, you know, an art school or art class. She wanted me to just go home and be able to come back home. Like, so it's just so many different things. But it's like now that we had this love for shoes, it is up for people like me or Noel to be in these rooms to help them understand that there is a creative somewhere that maybe just doesn't even understand how to express why he loves shoes so much, or why he can lead. Like, it's probably a dude that, you know, one dudes that probably sitting in a picture with 100 pairs of trophy rooms behind him or something right now that could be a really dope designer or something, but he don't know nothing else. So, you know, I guess we just gotta figure this part out.
So when you speak of like just the groundwork as far as like doing the work, like you said, Noel, different cheat codes and different little ways to get these kids involved. What do you think once they do get there, how do they stay there? Like, how do they, you know, a big company like Nike, it's hard to up the ranks, you know? So even if you do get in, it's like, bro, you got to work to get in and work to stay in.
Yeah.
So what's the work to stay in for that same kid?
Don't give up. You know, I don't know a cheat code about that one. Don't give up. Keep relationships. I think for us, like coming from the hood to being a corporate company, that's a big jump. You know, you don't speak the language, you don't understand the culture. You know, if you come from a city like Charlotte, which is like a big black city,
Right.
you go to Portland, which is the whitest city in America. Like, how do you even deal with that outside of work?
Yeah,
You know, like,
gotta be mentally strong.
yeah, mentally, like, you know, like, is this what you want to do? And I think for me, honestly, like, my whole goal is to show kids they can do it. You know, like, I don't got no college diploma or degree, whatever the fuck that shit, diploma degree. Like, I don't have any of that, but it's like, I could do this. And like, when kids DM me, I answer. You know, it's like, it's giving back. You know, because I don't want to shit on people. There's a lot of black people in companies that don't give back. You know, we hit them up, they don't reply.
Right.
You know, so I want to be what they weren't.
That's why I tell my boy Clean, like, man, your position, like, you being black and doing what you do, man, like, that's important.
Super important.
You gotta understand the importance of that, especially coming from Charlotte. Like,
Right.
I'm quick to tell somebody, yo, my man's work for Nike, and not the Nike factory. Just you know, you gotta put shit like that
Straight up
on the end of shit because you don't hear shit like that coming from Charlotte. You get what I'm saying? So
It's funny when Clean first got his job at Nike. I told my moms, and mom was like, "John got a job at Nike. Wait, which one? The outlet or the?" I'm like, "Nah, mom. Like corporate, like on campus." And she was like, "Wow, like it's foreign, you know."
They look at that like going to the future. Even them trips to Portland when we go, it's like, you know, I'm telling my mom, I'm telling somebody, they think we are just going shopping. Like bring me something back. Send me pictures of what they got.
So, just kind of pivoting off fashion, Noah, I want to talk about your work with Epic and We the Best. For like that duration in time. My first love is DJing. So I'm a DJ. You know, we got a production house. We do, you know, music videos, content with artists, artist relations, all that type of stuff. So just kind of talk about like the process of doing that type of work, designing, you know, all packaging, stuff like that for projects.
Yeah, so all that actually came from relationships. Like, that's like the main thing, relationships. There's a guy, a good friend of mine now named Ed. Back in the day, he was the manager for Avery Storm. So I was doing like a lot of like Every Storm, like single covers, artworks like that, merch.
Oh, wow.
Like 2010, 11.
This around 12? Here I Am. That
after that.
Yeah, okay.
Like after him and Ross split up.
Okay.
They had like falling out.
Okay.
I was working on stuff for him, and then they split. But Ed started working a lot with. He has a brand as well, but he works a lot with Epic.
Okay.
So like all them jobs come from him. So it's like Epic, Rock Nation, Sony.
Oh wow.
But that shit's actually what we do is kind of weird. So record labels have budgets they have to spend. So because 360, if an artist don't have a 360 deal, they can't sell the merch, but they have merch deals anyway. Budgets.
Wow.
So like I made merch for like Future, Drake, all that stuff, but they can't sell it, so the record labels give it away. So we design a whole bunch of stuff like that. Yeah, a whole bunch of stuff people never see, but they just produce it, and I don't know what they do.
Because they got to spend the money.
Got to spend the money. If you don't spend it, they don't get it back next year.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So
right.
like for the Calvin one, I designed the Welcome to Epic gift set for him. It was like a red box, had a key on it, came with some clothes. I did all that stuff. Did merch for 21 Savage, Diddy, Future, Drake, and a whole bunch I can't remember right now. But none of that stuff ever comes out though. A lot of it is really cool, but I never see none of it really.
I usually see you talk a lot about it on Instagram story.
Yeah, that's the only way people gonna see it because I promote it that way because I never see his shit.
Right.
Do you think it's pros and cons to playing behind the scene?
Nah, not for me.
Right.
I don't want to be up front. You know, he want to be up front. I'll be back.
I kind of get a thrill from the behind the scene action. It's like, especially when you look at the finished product, it's like, yo, you had something to do with that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, does not want to be behind the scene. Like, that's how like I started fucking with Virgil a lot. Like 2008. I was fucking with Virgil a lot. It's like looking at Kanye credits. They were like art director Virgil Blow, googling who that is. It was like I want to be that dude. Like I don't want to be the superstar. Like I just want to work on the stage, work on the designs.
Wow,
you know,
that's hard.
But it kind of flipped now because he's just as big as Kanye now. But yeah, I don't want to be that though.
It's weird how that flipped. It's like sometimes you think like, oh, they might want to play the back, and then out of nowhere they turn into like the hugest superstar ever, and you're like, whoa.
But it's also changing because back then creators weren't the cool people. Like, you had to be a rapper, basketball player, or some shit. And now, like, graphic designers are just as cool as anybody else.
Right. You know? It's like the sound guy's cool, the graphic designer's cool, the intern's cool. Like, it's a whole circulation.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Tips, man. When I first found out about you, bro, I actually seen you on a Jimmy Jazz store. Can you talk a bit about your relationship with Jimmy Jazz and how that came about? I see you guys. I don't think you put out nothing as of recent, but you guys were putting out content.
Nah, yeah. So I had got connected through Jimmy Jazz through Sneaker Ties, pretty much. It was just a few times I had did quick media through sneakers, like just a lot of times when like people were looking for like somebody to just speak on something. I was doing. Like what I was doing for Jimmy Jazz, I did a few episodes for Hot New Hip Hop at one point because a girl who was hooking me up, like whenever I would have like new videos or dropping singles, she would always like, she always throw me articles and stuff like that. She had a high position at Hot New Hip Hop. She was like, yo, they want to do some more sneakers. You the only person that I know that knows sneakers, so you want to do it? And so while that was going on, that's what Jimmy Jazz had pretty much referenced. They have referenced that, oh, we seen you do this. Would you be interested? And it really just kicked off like that. Well, it was just a media situation where they were like, yo, could you review shoes for social media? But then, it was literally I was in probably every store in America, which was shocking to me because you had mentioned like, wearing different hats and having different hustles. It's like, it's a kid's dream when he's writing his raps in a notepad to see himself on a screen. But it's like now I'm seeing myself on the screen with a Jordan 1 in my hand. So it was like, it wasn't as fulfilling that you may think, but it was still me having to understand that's still you. Like it's those conflicted feelings that you have for not maybe exceeding the way you want to succeed in life. It's like, but you're still here. That's still you. That's still your face.
Right.
So so that the Jimmy Jazz stuff is definitely an interesting time to kind of like understand exactly who I am and where I'm at now.
It's funny when you see yourself and you like, yo, I'm going to be this. I'm going to be this. And then it's like you get there and you're that. But like you said, it might just not be in the way you pictured it.
Because we're human. We still want to make it the way we want to make it. We want to be wrong and strong. We want to, we want things to go the way we want. We still want to be with the person we want to be with, no matter who makes us happy. Wow. Like it's just, it's just a lot of human things that happen to us that, we just have to discover a new version of us each time we get to that place. So, it's just that. But you do have to embrace it. You have to embrace it. Like, you can't look at it like you fell off. You got to just look at it like it's just another door opening. It's just another transition.
It's like, so we here now in Good Times, Charlotte. Kind of speak on, I peeped y'all went to Atlanta and did the pop-up at Closet. Kind of talk about that experience, your relationship with Fonny, and kind of the Atlanta culture. Kind of go into that a little bit.
How that came about was Malachi. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Malachi Garcia. Is Garcia, right?
Yeah, from Wish.
Yeah, he works at Wish.
Okay.
So when it came up, this situation to come to Atlanta, of course we was trying to tap in, do things at a store. We did LA in just an empty venue. So of course we was trying to expand and going places that I've only ever been to Atlanta to do A3C.
Okay.
So it was like for me to come back and almost be a new version of J Tips. You don't know how people are gonna accept
that different hat.
Yeah. So it was like, let me come back and let me do that. But I guess Wish had a situation with like maybe a prior booking where they seen that maybe that was just a little like they didn't want to conflict with that. So he had hooked us up with Fonny, and that was the first time we ever met him. But he was just like, all right, I could do it.
That's hard.
I'll see y'all Saturday.
That's hard.
That's hard. So we were literally meeting him while we were like taking stuff out of like the Suburban. So
that's wild.
Let me say, man, that I love the family aspect that y'all have, man. It seems like you and your friends are very tight-knit.
Yeah.
Tips, how important is it for you to be able to bring your friends along on this journey with you?
It's everything to me, man, because, like I keep tying it back to music, but, I did South by Southwest 6 years in a row and sleeping on people's couches, but seeing their friend dynamic, seeing, like, being on the outside, being at other people's shows, and, I'm almost like, unfortunately their entourage just because that's how those shows go. Like, we all need to be here at this time.
Right.
Like, we gotta, we just do that. So it was like, for me, I just wanted to kind of build something with my friends that kind of recreated that but felt that way. Like, I want to look next to me and see people I trust. Like, everybody that is around me I have a connection to, whether it's childhood or job or just just being creative or just being struggling together. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the only people that is going to be worth it when things go right. Like, you know, I never want to look around no matter what's going on and see kind of like my friends not there. Like, so even now it's still a struggle because, you know, the bigger things get, people try to kind of pull me along. Like, yo, let's do this with you. Let's do this. Let's talk sometimes. And I always be like, yo, you know, my friends is going to be there with me, you know what I'm saying? And even them, they sometimes they probably mad at me about something right now about today with the pop-up, but it's like I'm a rejoice with them, and I'm going to get in the crib, and I'm going to make them feel like, you know, we got to keep this going, and everybody's important, and it doesn't work without everybody.
Right.
So it's like, you know, and that's just me. Like, it's going to be like that for as long as it's possible.
I love that about y'all.
Absolutely. So when we I kind of want to talk about like Japanese denim culture and that whole influence on streetwear as a whole. And of course, you know, you got your Murakamis, you got your Hiroshis, you got the different people of that culture, Nigo, that we've been influenced by, and we study and kind of see how they navigate. How has Japanese culture impacted you creatively?
Me? You want to start this? Or this is a question for me?
For both of y'all. Yep.
I mean, I would like to change the streetwear for me, right? It's kind of like the Bapes, the Red Monkey. I mean, if he's a Red Monkey before Bape, like young in high school, right? It's like still like even coming down here, I think seeing like Aviza's and Flavor Factory.
Yep.
And then going back home and seeing them in Sammy's, like, damn, $200 jeans, that's crazy.
Right.
You know, like jeans like $60 at this time.
Right.
Like, the fuck, I'm afford that one day.
Right.
And like the aspiration factor for that, like all Japanese shit was like the first time we seen clothes get real expensive that wasn't like Gucci and Italian shit, right? It was like a Bape hoodie, $300.
Right.
Bape sneaker, $250. Red Monkey jean, $500. Like shit just kept going up and up. So for me, it was like, that was like, oh, we could stunt differently. And that was still different, right? You was still like, find a way to get the money, buy some Bape shit, go back to the block, and like, yo, what the fuck is that? Yo, you gay. Like, your sneakers got all them colors in it.
I feel you, yeah.
So it was still like that whole shit. So like, it changed everything. Like, it was kind of like, the new colors, the new styles.
Right.
You know,
it was
everything,
different.
Everything was different, yeah.
It was different.
Even though it was still baggy, it was still tighter.
Right.
Like, your jeans mad tight, but
a little more
it's
fit.
nowhere near what I wear now.
A lot of that shit is timeless. I still wear a lot of that shit.
Bro,
today.
what?
Red Monkey, Visa,
Jabos.
the right fit.
Like, I'm big on, like, black streetwear. So, like, I wear a lot of, like, cross colors, FUBU, like, I collect all of that type of stuff. So, like, it's big on me to see how we weigh up against that Japanese culture. You know, we got just as much flavor, just as much style, and to make it full circle is the most important.
I mean, the crazy part of the whole Japanese shit is, like, you know, us here, like, black people, we reference all, like, the high Italian. Japanese is referencing the hood.
Right.
You know, like Nico's, Bape is a real urban brand. Like, he made a hip-hop brand.
He like, yo, let me go grab some Air Force Ones. Yeah. Let me go look at some jerseys.
Big change,
like,
gold teeth. Like, he don't want to be no Italian. Like, he want to be a black man in the hood.
Right. Right.
You know, all of them.
They got the culture from us and like elevated it.
Yeah.
Did it with a whole lot more detail.
A little more taste. Right. Speaking of grills, I gotta shout out to you, bro. That's one of the hardest grills I've seen this year, other than Erykah Badu's. You and Erykah Badu got the hardest grill of 2020 and 2021 as of now. You know what I'm saying? So kind of, did you? I'm assuming you designed it and took it to, like, kind of talk about that creation.
Yeah, it was actually my homegirl Yanni, who has a big part in how I got to Charlotte. She had got something done at a place, and she was just like telling me about the process. And, you know, I've always been like, you know, a fan, but just like when I just kind of like spoke to the guy, and he kind of was like, yo, send me whatever you want. Just, I guess with the same aesthetic, I'm designing clothes and I'm just doing so many different stuff. I just mocked up something in Photoshop, and he was like, all right, come in tomorrow. And
wow,
we just like, and it was just like, I legit, like, if I seen you the Photoshop file, it was just like, I just wrote save you on the teeth. Boom. And I just put this, and he was like, all right, we can do it. Wow. So it was just like, I just wanted to kind of, you know, do something that I've felt before. Like, I've seen crazy grills, but it's also like I wanted something that felt like it would be me. Like, it would be like, people expect J-Tips to have something that, like, it just wasn't just regular. Like, it was too much almost.
Avant-garde, like to the
almost
left.
like something arrogant, kind of like, well, you can't wear that all the time.
A little drippy, yeah, like a little extra.
I got one last question for you. Let's talk the Bronx one more time. How does that affect who y'all are today and what y'all are doing? That's my last question for y'all.
Man, that affect everything. I grew up with a lot of trauma, man, but I found a way to channel it into something creative. I found a way to turn, like, you know, maybe dating girls too young, maybe hanging out too late, maybe, you know, seeing things I wasn't supposed to see and suppressing it. Like, you know, like you just we running from gunfights and then going in the house and just turning on Pokemon. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we suppress so much, but, you know, instead of letting it overcome you, I found a way to express it, and just the things that I want to do, the way I want to live, the things I want my kids to see. Just kind of like being a filter for the next generation as well. Like, I'm very conscious on what I post on social media, just in that, because I understand maybe if I would have seen less, maybe how I would be now. Like, I put a basketball down at a very young age, and I wonder if it was because, maybe because I felt like I needed to. And it was like, I want to stay young. I want to teach people to stay young and stay creative for as long as possible. And I learned a lot of that from, like, being a product of my environment. And so, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, same shit, to be honest. I think the Bronx, for whatever reason, people shit on the most out of other boroughs. No, especially like on social media, it's like, Brooklyn got a whole bunch of fucked up parts. But they try to talk about the Bronx got all that. So I think it's like a chip on the shoulder. So everything I do is like, I make sure, like, a lot of people from the Bronx too, that's like cool. They say from New York City. And I always say I'm from the Bronx. So like, this is where y'all know I'm from. Like, I'm from the same neighborhood that Ralph Lauren's from. You know, like, that nigga's billionaire, bro. Like, you're not gonna keep talking bad about our hoods.
Right.
That's what it is.
Legend shit, man.
I wanna touch on something real quick. I noticed the Savior bamboo earrings, and like that's such a Southern, like we love seeing our women out here in bamboo earrings. I'm talking fresh, like when they out the pack, you see them glistening. You know what I'm saying? Like, I used to love that at the skating ring when you see a girl with like bamboo earrings on. But kind of, as a personal with our brand with the Clean Slate, I want to dabble into that women's line, that type of thing. So how does you doing, prototypes and things like the earrings lead into a women's line for Savior?
Yeah, it's, I feel like I'm headed in that direction just because it's undeniable how much women support I get. And it's just like, if I do not cater to it, I'll lose it. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody is going to meet. I done been in too many focus groups to not realize that people taking analytics of me, everything I do.
Right.
Like, as much as I could sit there and be like, this picture got this many likes, this got this many, like, focusing on myself, there's somebody writing down, okay, it's Charlotte, pop up,
right,
good times.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's people pay attention to everything. So it's like, if I want to continue to keep my brand alive, I have to, do something that I'm not always doing. And when it came to the bamboo earrings, it was, I had a vision for Valentine's Day, real 90s, Mary J. Blige, real love in New York kind of feeling. So it's funny you say how it's like you feel about it now, but to me in New York, that just remind me of like Fordham Road, remind me of just real like 90s, like my mom being young, us growing up together pretty much, like just always seeing that. So I wanted to kind of just do something like that, but just promote Valentine's Day. And it's slow right now for all businesses. So it's like, if you keep it fun, if you keep it like going, people will pay attention to that. And that's going to be points on the board for you because you didn't lay over and just start doing anything. Like, you still kept it innovative and stuff like that.
So both of y'all are fathers, and here on Free Breakfast, we like to champion all proud, active fathers, especially active black fathers, because the connotation is just so negative, and I like that y'all always talking about your kids, always referencing your kids. So I want each of y'all to kind of just, shout your kids out, kind of talk about how being a parent helps your career, how it changes you, all of that type of stuff.
It's my purpose. I think it was a lot of things that I thought were passions until like having kids, and then you got to kind of like just cross certain things out. Like, what's really, really most important to you? And it's my kids, they meant different things to me. Like, as much as people may look at it like one is a lot and then two is, oh my God, it was like they both had different places in my life to kind of like keep me in check. Like, give me somebody to call at night, somebody call in the morning and stuff like that. Like, it's real important for me to have a family dynamic because it's, it's something that they rely on you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
100%.
If they rely on me, I need, I got to be there for them because they only get one of me. You know what I'm saying? So it's important for me to kind of just always feel that way, remind myself of that. Like, just kind of when things get tough to realize that there's somebody that needs you to break through whatever you got going on.
Yeah, it makes you like the bigger picture. Like for me, like I started seeing everything long ago. Like before, I probably lived like a day, a week, and now it's like this decision got to be good enough for him. 20 years from now, right, when he's 22. And I think we need to raise, like, the bar of being a good black father. Like, I don't know if he had, like, I think I was talking to him about, like, when my son was, like, a couple months, I used to be outside with the stroller, and people was like, oh, my God, I respect you. I'm like, I'm just pushing the stroller. Like y'all think I'm a great dad because I'm just with my kid.
Right.
Like, that bar is super low. We got to fix that.
We got to.
Yeah, being in a park, being all type of stuff, picking up my son from school, the teachers give you the extra, like, I love what you're doing. It's like, yeah, he got to go home somehow.
Right. Like, he got a father, too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's important, man. That's important for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, man. We got to break them gifts out for the guests,
It's
man.
time for the gifts, man. So, out here in the city, man, this our city. I can't even hold you. And we always want to make sure we take care of our guests. So from the clean slate, we want to give some gifts. These are the 6 Rings crew neck. We dropped these
Thank you.
early in the winter.
Appreciate y'all, man.
So we definitely want y'all to take that back home, man. Enjoy those. Definitely appreciate y'all letting us sit down and get this episode in, man.
Sure.
100.
I mean, you gotta keep the good work too. Like I really fuck what y'all doing. Like how y'all have like
that,
the whole
bro.
y'all point of view was like still like remind me of Eastern Mall, like doing shit like
Right,
that.
yeah,
I fuck with it.
bro.
Like that Joel C.
Well,
I had shit on
I
a couple days
appreciate
ago.
that, bro. I
Appreciate
appreciate
it,
that. It's crazy you said that, like, the Eastlands, because, like, I'm from the East Side, so, like, that was my whole, like, bro, the ice skating ring.
Yeah, in the middle, right?
Did you ever go to, like, Starlight, like, while you on the East Side, like, different skating rings?
skating ring, right? Yeah, I've been there.
Like, bro.
No, I used to see like rappers wearing shirts. Like I think when the Mr. Me Too video says I got it for cheap.
Ooh, yeah,
I
like,
went to Eastern Mall, I got it right there. I want your red.
That's
I
all
want
we
your red
used to
Air Force
do.
Ones.
Most of my designs are from that. Like, since you're familiar with Eastland Mall and just that whole Southern culture, like 03 to like 08, that's where a lot of like these clean slate designs stem from.
I fuck with like Gucci Man iron print on the shirt.
Right.
Want to wash shit all fucked up.
Cereal boxes with the fruity with the gas pedals, like with the bud all in there.
Yeah.
Super thick on the shirt.
Super thick. I don't even know what is that. Was that silk screen? That's not even
what
heat
that was.
press.
I
I
don't
don't
know what
even
that was,
what that
That
is.
shit was
Like,
bad.
that is crazy.
Before we get out of here, man, I just want to shout out my man Juice for letting us hold down the
Juice.
shop,
Shout
man,
out
and
Juice, man.
do the podcast,
100,
man. Thank
100.
you.
We appreciate
That's a
this,
good
man. We
times.
coming live from Good Times Charlotte. This is the J Tips pop up, man. It's a big one, man. Savior pop
sir.
up. Appreciate y'all coming in, man. We checking out.
Yes, sir.